So we're about to watch this clip here, and this clip itself in particular is involving Rob having a conversation with his mum in the most recent episode of 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After. And Claire definitely has something to say about it. So before we get into exactly what she had to say, let's recap exactly what goes on in this scene now. There will be parts that will be jumpy because I have to do that for copyright purposes, okay? I hope you understand. Of course you understand, but you haven't got a choice. Anyway, let's get into it.
Crazy. Who is this person?
My mom is pretty much the exact opposite of Claire. She would never be that judgmental of someone, and she would always give someone an opportunity. I feel like Claire has written off any opportunity for me to show her who I am. Much more understanding and patient. They're just worlds apart. They're completely different.
I mean, listen, I don't think Rob understands the differences of your parent to your partner's parent. This is the thing, right? When it comes to your parents, they're supposed to be understanding of you. That's what they're supposed to do. When it comes to your parents, they're supposed to be understanding, and they're supposed to help guide you in life and help advise you in the right directions by giving you and letting you know what's right and what's wrong, etc., etc. So of course your mom is going to treat you with a different type of care. That's a no-brainer. But obviously when you meet your partner's parents, whether that be the mum or the dad, of course they're going to judge you from the very get-go. Of course, there's a chance that they may just write you off because maybe there's something that you've done that they're not happy with. That's called human nature. Because at the end of the day, the same way your parents will protect you by trying to look after you, is the same way your partner's parents will protect them by trying to look after them too. So really and truly, if your relationship has gone downhill with your partner's parents, really and truly, the best thing that you can do is look at yourself and be like, what the hell did I do wrong? But I will add this though. Why has Claire been so involved in your relationship, shall I say? Simple. Because your wife, the one that you can't control, she is consistently bringing her mum into your conversations. If you want to have a real conversation without Claire being there, controlling your relationship the way you claim she does, be very simple. Tell Sophie, hey babe, let's have a conversation without any third parties, without your mum, without your friends. It's just me and you. That's it. But let's read what the purple says, because what the purple says is then going to lead into the next clip. And boy, I will say this, trigger warning, if anybody has ever been in some type of domestic, negative, toxic relationship. So in the purple, it says, and I do apologize in advance because some of the writing here isn't necessarily at its best. This is so funny. I had nothing to do with their marriage until Rob showed me who he really was. Now, let's just talk about that real quick. Now, if you haven't seen the interview that I did with Claire, I recommend checking that. But most importantly, I recommend checking the video that I made after that with the receipts showing that Rob and Claire had a healthy relationship prior to being on the show. Just bear that in mind. Now, also, to show me who he was. That's why I think if his mum knew how aggressive Rob was to Sophie every day, like bullying and aggression, she would feel different. 1000%. Now remember that bit there. Remember the part of him being a bully and him being aggressive, because that is something that's going to be spoken about in the next clip of this video. Okay. Now, with that being said, to continue by saying, yes, I am the opposite to his mother. Rob told me that when he was a kid, when he was getting beaten, his mum did nothing to stop it from her boyfriend. So I'm not the mother that would defend my child, no matter what. So I'm glad I'm different to her, but feel bad how her son is totally gaslighting. He told us he was not close with her because if that was the gaslighting making it out, he's close. Again, I put out the reading is because some of the words are just worded a bit, but nonetheless, though, in a nutshell, just talking about how Rob is basically gaslighting. And to be fair, I do remember before when we did make a video regarding Rob's relationship with his parents, and I remember his response on social media was regarding that his relationship wasn't exactly the best per se. Nothing was mentioned about being beaten, but it was definitely mentioned about it not being great. So I guess this is Claire pretty much calling him out on his BS, or at least letting us know that he is lying. Now, also on top of that, she continues by saying, I also have been, and it's annoying because this little bit here is kind of cut off. I always have him being it, doubt until I found out what really going on behind closed doors. Rob something once was a man and owned his own abusive. I would respect it. Yeah, honestly, as you can see on my screen, there's a portion of the last bit here that's chopped off. But I'm pretty sure we get the gist of what she's trying to say here. But let's move on to the next one, though, because the next one is where obviously it gets very intense, shall I say, in my opinion. Let's get it.
What's going on? Is he about to tap dance? What's going on? Let me know. Now, I ain't trying to be messy and I ain't trying to be mean, but something else that caught my attention when I was watching this was the knuckles. Now, the only people I know that got knuckles like this, street fighters, and you figure out the rest. But when I saw this, something clicked in my head. I said, see? And not only that, when the cameraman, first of all, is messy. Last week it was Kobe's feet. This week is the Beige Rage knuckles. And looked like the Beige Rage meter didn't stand a chance because looked like he powwowed his way through what the fuck is going on. What kind of work does Rob do where his knuckles, the outside of his knuckles, will be brashed up and brazed up like this?
All right, boom, let's talk about that. To be fair, I had to turn my hat backwards because I realized there's two black men on screen, both our hats facing frontwards. I don't want people to be sitting and saying, hey, are you two brothers? You look alike. You know how all black people look the same, right? I was like, let me switch it out. Let me look different here. So we don't get the comparison. You know what I'm saying? But let's talk about this. Let's get serious real quick, okay? The knuckles, therefore, if we really think about it, what does Rob do to allow him to get knuckles like this? That is a very, very good question. And to be honest with you, I'd be surprised if Rob said no. I wouldn't be surprised if he says that he does some sort of work that involves his hands, but at the same time, I wouldn't necessarily believe that because the way this guy moves, yeah, very unlikely. But nonetheless, though, going back to what we said before regarding the bullying and the aggression, are his hands because of this? And this was what it makes this is what I wonder now. For a long time, I've said it, and I'm pretty sure many people have said it, that Sophie, generally speaking, is the common denominator to the problems in their relationship. Why? Because you see, when it comes to her and Rob, each time she has to have a conversation with him, she always seems to bring her mum with her. Each time she needs to have a conversation with Rob, she seems to bring her friend Kay with her. Each time she wants to have a conversation with Rob, she seems to bring even her ex-friend, best friend that she was doing a little thing with back in the day when they were in the UK. Point being is that now the more I think about it, if we go back, and this is obviously in reference to Claire uploading a video once upon a time regarding Rob being verbally abusive towards Claire, a video that definitely put a lot of us on an alert. But we was like, whoa, what the hell is going on here? This is not healthy. This is not good. And anybody that's sadly been in a life where they've been with a partner like that were triggered, and people started talking about the signs of how this could easily just be the beginning to something even worse. Well, I will say this though. I have heard without any evidence, okay, made that clear. I have heard without any evidence that other things have gone down between Rob and Sophie when arguments have become heated and physicality has been a thing. I have heard it, but I had no evidence, which is why I've never made a video about it, because obviously I have no evidence behind it. But I mention it now as a little thing now, purely because it's within conversation based on what Claire said here and also what the creator is saying here regarding Rob's hands. Or at least hinting regarding his hands. So these are things I guess, we really need to also keep in mind. So with that being said, does Sophie always feel the need to always bring someone with her to speak to Rob about serious conversations, because she may potentially fear that when she's alone with him and they do have arguments, that things always go in directions that they're not supposed to? Because really and truly, there are a lot of people in this world that sometimes if they need a conversation with somebody that they are afraid of, usually they'll bring someone with them to make them feel safe. So if we think about the pattern of Sophie's behavior, we've got the pattern, I just clicked my knuckles. We've got the pattern of her One, always bringing her mum, at least while she's been in the show, always bringing her mum to conversation with Rob, serious conversations. Two, she brought her friend Kai at one point, and then also her male friend at some point. And then the last one, which I think is probably maybe the biggest one of them all, each time they have a massive dispute, what does Sophie also do? She also moves out. These patterns of somebody always moving out and always having to bring in third parties, if I think about it on this perspective of the fact that there may be more going on behind closed doors that involve aggression, maybe this is her basically crying out for help. Maybe this is her running away because she's trying to avoid him in that type of capacity. There is that possibility. And also on top of that, in the most last in fact, hold on a second, hold that thought.
Dealing
when I go out. Like, most guys would love for that to be what it looks like. And I'm over here trying to make sure I'm not going to do nothing I ain't supposed to do.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but when it comes to being in a relationship that involves abusive nature, from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? The person that is generally the abuser, they can abuse in different ways, mentally and physically, okay? And just to clarify, everything that I'm saying here, okay, is just hypothetical, it's just theories, okay? I'm not saying that this is what's going on between these two, because again, no evidence, but just filling in the dots, okay? So just to cover myself there. But generally speaking, in an abusive relationship, okay, there is the mental and the physical. And one of the mental side effects is making someone feel less than, and always making yourself feel as if you are more than. In this scene here, we witness Rob talking about himself as more than. He's talking about how most guys would love to be in a position where they can just go out and just get other girls. But meanwhile, instead of getting other girls, he's doing his best to be a great partner because, you know, he wants to make it work. Why speak about it in that way? And again, just putting in the dots of how someone's behavior can work when they are in a relationship where they are being unnecessary, if you dig what I'm saying. Because again, thinking about things from this type of perspective, certain things seem to now make sense in this format.
I have so many opportunities. I could get into some.
So again, I go back to the question yourself alone, okay? You know, when we look at the pattern, we go for the pattern again, okay? Sophie has conversations with Rob, but mum has to be there from what we've seen. If mum isn't there, then her friends have to be there from what we've seen. And if the friends aren't there for them to have conversations from what we've seen, Sophie then always leaves Rob and ends up going to her friend's house. Okay, those are three things that we've seen. And then also on top of that, from time to time, whenever Rob does talk about his relationship regarding Sophie, he will always talk about himself in this highlight, or as, you know, I could be doing better, which tells me that potentially when he has conversations with Sophie behind closed doors, he maybe says to her, listen, he may say things to her like, well, you have to understand that the type of guy that I am, you know, you have to understand that he's the type of guy that may say things like, if I wasn't with you, I could get any girl if I wanted to. You see what I'm saying? Which also could add to Sophie's paranoia, okay, around not trusting him, which should also add to some of the conversations that we've seen them obviously have in the past, if we now put the dots together, okay? So, very interesting things here. Not nice things, but very interesting here. There's more to say, but now my mind's gone completely blank, to be fair, because as I'm speaking, I'm thinking of newer things and thinking, oh, shiz. But nonetheless, I would like to know your thoughts, your opinions. What other things have you seen that maybe now indicate that, hey, maybe there is something going on behind closed doors between these two that we haven't seen, that we have not been seeing because we've been so focused on the fact that, Rob is always complaining about Claire. Claire is somewhat, shall I say, the scapegoat in the conversation, okay? I feel like that's something that needs to also be kind of now thought about. Why is he always using Claire? Because think about it, right? When somebody is abusing you, they will make everybody else around you look like as if they are the enemy, as if they are the problem. You see what I'm saying, okay? When in reality, all they're doing is making sure they can put you underneath their hold, if that makes sense. So that's something else that has to be also considered, you know what I mean? Because I said it before, really and truly, if Rob was really a masculine man, you know, if he really was a man that was, you know, a good man, really and truly, he shouldn't be sitting there blaming third parties for why his relationship is going downhill. He should be sitting there and saying, hey, hold on a minute. I need to take control of my relationship. I need to make sure that I can get this relationship back on track. How can I do that? Let me have a conversation with my woman one-to-one with no one else getting involved. And if things go well, then we can continue. If things don't go well, then I guess we can separate. This is what I'm saying. But he's not doing that. He's just moaning and moaning and moaning and moaning and moaning and moaning and moaning like a little freaking baby. And let's not forget, these two are already rumored to be a part of the last resort. I'm already predicting that when it comes to the last resort, I wouldn't be surprised if Rob's sister and even Sophie's sister, and they probably throw most of the blame to the relationship going south because of Claire. Claire is not your relationship. She's not your relationship. Regardless of how much has been involved, it's not relevant because it's so far gone. You should know how to take control now. But again, let's go back to what I was saying before, the sequence of behavior. And I have to keep repeating that. I guess when I watch the next episode on 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After, I'll be seeing things a whole lot more different now. Because a lot of the time, when things like these are happening and we see the signs, we all let it go over our heads and think, oh, it's probably nothing. When in reality, when we think it's probably nothing, it could actually easily be something. Now, I really hope it's all nothing. I really, really do hope it's nothing. But if a creator is now pointing out, subliminate, I can't be the only one. I can't be the only other person between me and him now who are also like, And to be fair, I have been source of information really and truly before anyway. But again, with that evidence, I can't necessarily. But hey, with that being said, let me know exactly what you're thinking down below. Do you think I'm reaching? Do you think the creator is reaching? Do you think Claire's reaching? What do you think? Let us know in the comment section right now, and we can talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.